First of all, good morning everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Okay, now listen. So this class is all about epidemic, endemic and pandemic. What are the three things? Let us understand in a very elaborative manner. Then we go deep in details about the concept of epidemic, which is there in your class 8 book, WBBSE syllabus. Okay. So first, we need to understand four things. That is sporadic, endemic, epidemic and pandemic. Okay, sporadic, endemic, epidemic and pandemic. What are these four things? Let us understand in details first. Now, suppose let me draw a world region. Let me draw some world region. Suppose this is our earth and there are different parts in section. Now, what is sporadic? Let us first stick to the first point, sporadic. Suppose any kind of disease, okay, any kind of particular disease which is confining to a, suppose in a particular locality, okay, in a particular locality, suppose in where you are staying in that locality, any kind of disease is spreading and it stick to that region and it is spreading to that particular region for a time. Okay, suppose it's occurring, suppose a fever, suppose any kind of itchiness, suppose any kind of fungal infection. It occurs to any person and that person contaminate the other person in that particular community or that locality. It is considered to be a sporadic. Okay, when a disease confined to a small region and it do not spread outside that region and it happens for a short period of time, it is considered to be a sporadic. For example, fever. Okay, for example, some kind of viral fever. Viral fever is considered to be as the sporadic. Viral fever is considered to be as the sporadic, which occurs in a particular region, in a particular community or a region is called sporadic. It's called what? Sporadic. Okay. Now, let us come to the next section, endemic. What is endemic? Now, suppose this disease, one particular disease, suppose this is a region of Africa or some other continent, and here suppose any kind of disease is occurring to this particular region again and again and again and again, and people are reporting that this disease is confined to this particular region. Okay, and it is not spreading out somewhere in a large boundary of a country, inside a country. Okay, in a large boundary of a country it is spreading and it is not leaving that country and it is just sticking to that country and it occurring in a very short period of time. For example, malaria is one kind of such disease which the African people suffers a lot because the female Anopheles mosquito which spread the malaria confined to that particular area and they spread this malaria again and again to that particular region of the country. Okay, and it do not spreading out of the region of the country, it's just sticking to that region of the country. Here it was to a community or a locality, here it was sticking to a country. Difference is there. It is considered to be as endemic. Considered to be as endemic. One example of endemic is what? Malaria. One example of endemic is what? One example of endemic is what? Malaria. Okay. So, which pupils are affecting? Suppose the people who are residing in Africa, they are again and again fall under the trap of the malaria for a shorter period of time. Okay, means it's happening to 2 days or 3 days, again it is happening again for after 5 or 7 days or 7 weeks or 1 month or 2 months. That particular disease is not leaving that place. Understood? That particular disease is not leaving that place. It is called as what? Endemic. Now, let us come to the major topic that we are about to discuss is epidemic. What is epidemic? Suppose one kind of disease, it is there in the particular region and it is spreading to other region of this boundary of the country in different manner. Okay, but in a very short period of time. Okay, region, this particular disease occurring in this particular region and it is excluding the boundary of that region to the other part of the country in a very short period of time. Okay, means in a very short period of time it is spreading to other part of the country. Okay, now it is not confining in a particular region but it is spreading to the other part of the country in a short period of time. This particular disease is considered to be as epidemic. Okay, this particular disease is considered to be as what? What? Epidemic. This particular disease is considered to be as epidemic. Okay, now example of epidemic, suppose Ebola virus or Nipah virus. Okay, Ebola, Nipah, this kind of viruses either by means biting by a rat or by a bat or some other animals, they spread the disease among the people and then suddenly that disease confined to different other places of the region of the country in a very short period of time, it is considered to be as epidemic. Now, it comes to be the largest version of the spreading of disease, that is considered to be as the pandemic. Recently, just few years back, 4 years back in 2020, we faced such a pandemic which spread all over the world. What is that called? COVID-19. COVID-19, which is spread by a vector agent called shark COVID-19. Okay, and for that the whole world have to get shut down due to a massive pandemic. Okay, when this epidemic spreads in a larger scale to all other parts of the world, okay, all other parts of the world, it is considered to be as pandemic. What is considered to be as pandemic? So let us summarize once again. When a disease confined to any little origin, locality or community, it is considered to be as what? It is considered to be as sporadic. Okay, when that disease spread out to particular region of a country but not excluding that region of the country and it is occurring in a very short period of time, it is considered to be as what? Endemic. When this particular disease spread through other part of the country to different agents, suppose humans, suppose any kind of vector, suppose any kind of food, it is contaminating other part of the people of the country excluding the boundary of the country, it is considered to be as epidemic. But when this epidemic spread in a large scale to all other part of the world, it is considered to be as pandemic. Example of such pandemic is COVID-19, which we have faced in the year 2024. Clear? Let us now start about the types of epidemic. What are the different types? We need to know that there are three major types of epidemic. There are three major types of epidemic. One is common source epidemic. What does it mean? Common source. Means it happens by the common thing. Just like contamination through food, contamination through water. These are the common source epidemic.
Agents are common.
Agents are very common and it can occur in a very respective way. Different types of food contamination, water contamination, air contamination, just like that. Second is pathogen related epidemic. Pathogen related epidemic. Second is pathogen related epidemic, which occurs due to some vectors, some pathogens, okay, some particular what should I say, some infected organisms, pathogen, or you can write also pathogen or vector related epidemic. Okay, pathogen or vector related epidemic. Last comes the source is propagated epidemic. Propagated epidemic. Propagated epidemic means when people propagates from one particular region to another. Suppose one person is having one kind of epidemic disease inside him and he travels from one region to the another part of the country. This will cause that particular region to have that particular disease also, and hence it is called a propagated epidemic. Let us just confine to this process once again. Types of epidemic: common source epidemic, when it is spread through what? Spread through water, air, food, etc. Okay. Pathogen epidemic, when it is spread through insect, then bats, virus, etc. like that. And propagated epidemic, when it is spread through migration. Suppose one person is migrating from one place to another. The type of epidemics are three: common source epidemic, pathogen or vector related epidemic. One is propagated epidemic, when a person is propagating from one place to different other place of the region. Clear?
In migration, it would be specifically immigration.
Definitely, immigration also can be. Immigration can also be people coming from one part to another part of the country, going from one part to another part of the country. They confine the disease to other part. Now, if this epidemic spread in a large scale, then it will become endemic. When epidemic spread in a very large scale, it is considered to be as pandemic. Now, let us discuss about the reason of spreading of epidemic. Okay, let us discuss about the reason of spreading of epidemic. What are the different kinds of reasons? What are the different reasons of epidemic? There are several reasons. Suppose we have already understood the different types. From that we can understand one very common reason is the migration. Yes or no? Is migration of people from one region to another. Okay. Migration of people from one region to another can spread the epidemic from one particular region to other region. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, could it be any animal or birds?
Definitely, it can be spread through any animals and birds. Next, we are coming to that topic only. Next, I would say that due to different vectors or agent causing this epidemic, vectors or agents causing this epidemic, example birds, insects, bats, etc. Okay. So first, migration from one place to another, a particular person or any animals to that region. Second, due to different vector agents causing the epidemic, such like birds, insect, bats. Third, due to lack of vaccination. Due to lack of vaccination. How it occurring? Suppose we are given different kinds of vaccination in a very short age of time, and that vaccinations are such like hepatitis, such like polio, tuberculosis, given different types of vaccinations we are given in a very small age, so that vaccination is what that particular vaccines is being attenuated and being inserted in our body either by oral means or through by injection inside our body, and antibodies create on response to that stays in the body which protect us from the later part of this disease. But if the vaccination is not done properly, then such kind of disease just like polio, such like tuberculosis, just like hepatitis could happen to a person. And if that affected person travel from one region to another, if that affected person is eating some food and that food is being infected by any other insect and that is infecting other food also, and people eating that infected food may also contaminate that kind of diseases. So this kind of disease is called epidemic disease, which spread in a very short period of time, and these three main reasons are there for spreading of this epidemic. Another reason for this we can say, so another type of reason which causes the spreading of this epidemic is poor sanitation and food hygiene. Poor sanitation and food hygiene. What is that? Suppose in a particular region there are pupils who are staying very unhealthy, unhygienic, they are not washing their hands, they are confining food which are affected by certain kind of fleas or something. In that region, a human can be affected through some epidemic diseases which spread from one place to another in a very shorter span of time. So let us just summarize once again. These are the four main reasons of spreading of epidemic disease. Migration of people from one region to another due to different vectors or agent causing epidemic, due to lack of vaccination, and last but not least, the poor sanitation and food hygiene. Along with that, we will include another point called pathogen spreading epidemics. Pathogen spreading epidemic. What is that? Certain kind of pathogens like bacteria, viruses, etc. could spread this epidemic to a certain region for a very shorter period of time. For example, pathogen like Plasmodium vivax, which is of protozoa, is spread by the Anopheles mosquito, and it is the primary cause of malaria. Okay, so these are the five main reasons of spreading of epidemic from one region to another. Now let us come to the closure of this topic, that is the examples. Let us talk about the examples of certain epidemic. Examples of certain epidemic. Now, what is that? First, let me talk about the 14th century. In 14th century, there was an epidemic which has spread called Black Death. There was an epidemic spread called Black Death, which is caused by fleas. Certain fleas which have contaminated and it is spread. It is the pathogen, okay, and its vectors are a rat, which is spreaded by rats. Okay, in 14th century, Black Death epidemic has spread all over the country of France, and it is spread by particular pathogen fleas which is given by the bites of the rats. Rats are contaminating these fleas from one region to another, and they spread this particular epidemic to different parts of the country. Okay, in where it happens in Europe. Okay. Next comes in category that in 14th century, after 14th century, our recent, that is COVID-19, caused by SARS-CoV. Okay, it is a common epidemic disease which occurs just in 2020 and 2021, and it is due to the spread of this epidemic, that SARS-CoV, which spread from China, and the core region from where it has been spread, Shanghai. There was a laboratory from where this disease actually spread, and after a certain period of time, this particular disease spread all over the world in a very short period of time, and for that reason, epidemic disease become a pandemic to all over the country. And many countries, many particular government have to do the shutdown of that proper area, just like the lockdown which happens in 2020-21. And when a pandemic is occurred in particular area, what happens? Many life of the people, not only their lifestyle, their way of living changed due to these reasons. Many people died at once. Okay, so these are some examples of particular epidemic disease. Now let us summarize what we have read. Diseases are basically 4 types. What are they? Sporadic, endemic, epidemic and pandemic. Sporadic, confined to a particular region. Endemic, confined to a particular region but for a short period of time, and it happens for again and again and again and again in that particular region, and it happens in a very short period of time. Epidemic, when this endemic spread to the geographical areas out of the boundary of that region, it spread to a particular part of a country, and it spread to different parts of the other country also in a very shorter period of time, it is considered to be as epidemic. And last but not least, when epidemic spreads in a very large scale to all the part of the world, it becomes pandemic.
So before becoming pandemic, has it to be become epidemic?
It's not necessary like that, but yes, pandemic do not occurs before epidemic. Once it has to become an epidemic, then it spread like a pandemic. Okay, because epidemic is the reasons you can understand. These are the 4 or 5 reasons which are responsible for the spreading of this epidemic disease. And this epidemic disease, when spread in a large scale, they become pandemic. Am I clear? Okay. Achha. Next, what I say that in case of epidemics are 3 types. What are the 3 types of epidemics? One is propagated epidemic disease, one is vector carrying epidemic disease, and one is what? What are the 3 types? I have just said common source epidemic. Common source epidemic means in that particular epidemic disease, when persons are infected by food, water, air, anything, and suppose one person eating a contaminated food and he is being affected, and his eating habits is being transferred from one person to another, he also confined to that disease. It's a common source. Next comes vector or pathogen. Suppose one insect who bite a person who is having a malaria or dengue, that particular mosquito bites another person, he will also confine to that particular disease. It causes another reason for the epidemic disease. Last but not least is propagated epidemic disease. How it causes? When a person contaminated by certain kind of disease travel from one region to another region, and there they spread the disease in a very large scale. Okay. Now, what are the reasons behind this epidemic disease? Migration of people from one region to another, one part of the country to another, due to different vectors, agent causing the epidemic, just like birds, insects, they contaminate other person with the help of this. They carry this infected or this carrying this epidemic diseases due to lack of vaccination. People who are not vaccinated properly at the very early age may have reasons to contaminate with this kind of epidemic disease, and from there they can spread to all over the country. Next, poor sanitation and food hygiene. Suppose people are not using proper hygienic method or proper sanitation method, or they are not eating proper food, what will happen? The particular people will spread the epidemic disease in a large scale. Last but not least, pathogen spreading epidemic. Suppose bacteria, virus, certain kind of protozoa which are the causative agent of this epidemic disease, they are being transferred from one place to another with the help of the what? With the help of the other vectors. This vector spread the disease in a very large scale. Some common examples of epidemic, it's 2 of the major things. In 14th century, there was a Black Death disease, which is actually a flu spread by a fleas contaminated by a rat in all over the part of the Europe, it's confined only to Europe, not other parts of the world. Remember to that. One part of the Europe it has spread. This is one of the example. Why I have given COVID-19 short COVID? There is a reason, because COVID-19 earlier was an epidemic. Earlier it was an epidemic. It was confined to China only, and peoples of the China were being affected by this disease caused by a bat. You can consider to be the vector as a bat, and it happens in the upper Shanghai part of the China, from where it has spread through what? It has spread through this migration region, which is spread through this migration of people from one region to another, and that's why this epidemic disease becomes a pandemic. Okay?
So what is shark COVID?
Shark COVID is the pathogen or the virus which is responsible for this COVID-19. Okay?
So,
It
sir, what is
considers to be
coronavirus?
coronavirus or SARS COVID, these are the same. Coronavirus is a virus resembles to some of the common family of the rhinovirus family. Clear? How it looks like? It looks like just like with this crown. They are having a crown on his head, and their genetic materials are confined into it. How it occurs? When it enters into the human body, our body's immunity cells or the antibodies could not identify this kind of viruses. They thought they are some receptors which are of their own body. They accept their genetic material, and this is the trick of this coronavirus. They replicate inside human nucleus and they forms the DNA, which does DNA further affected the all part of the body, and coronavirus certainly affected which part? Our lungs. What they actually do? What is the effect of this virus? Our lungs alveolus gets contaminated with the mucus of the fluid, which results in asphyxia, persons having breathing issues. And ultimately what happened, those persons at a very early age or those persons at a very old age could not survive with this effect. Persons who are in the middle age without with a proper health, they have survived this disease. Okay, so this marks to an end of this epidemic section. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.